I am a product of the automotive sector. My family, my dad worked for the Chrysler Corporation for 38 years. He was a pipe fitter and a manager at the old van plant, Plant 6 on Paulette Road. And I remember very clearly being a young kid back in the early 1980s and being summoned to the kitchen at our house on St. Patrick's. And my two older brothers were there, my parents were there, the black and white TV was on, the rabbit ears were up, and I could see the stress in my dad and the nervousness, the look on my dad's face. And my mom was trying to reassure us. And the reason we were called to the kitchen was we were watching the TV to see whether Lee Iacocca could make a deal with the President of the United States to save Chrysler Corporation. If the answer was no, it meant that Chrysler was going bankrupt and everyone who worked for Chrysler, including my dad, would be out of a job. And I was one of probably thousands of kids standing around TV in their kitchen that particular day with their parents waiting for that news. And when the news came that was favorable, I remember the look on my dad's face and him standing up, almost cheering like someone had just won, his favorite team had just won the Super Bowl. And the elation that we had as a family. And as a young person, I didn't quite get it. But as mayor, I really get it. I've lived that fear. I understand it from a young age. But I also know about the ups and downs, the peaks and valleys of the automotive sector. We've lived that together as a community. So what I want to do is try and end those peaks and valleys. Let's smooth that out so there isn't the fear and the trepidation and the concern about the future of the industry. And that's what Windsor Works was all about. That's what going after the battery factory was all about, was to set the stage for the future of the community, to know that there are pathways for thousands and thousands of people who are going to work in this facility and thousands of people in the supply chain that will follow, that the bright days are ahead, that they don't have to worry because we're on the leading edge of creating product here that will transform the entire auto industry. And we're doing that right here in the city of Windsor. I am in this race and I am running for mayor again because I am determined to make sure that no kid has to stand around the TV and have that fear again. I want to make sure that we are on the leading edge of this change, and getting the EV battery factory and that $5 billion investment, it means everything to me, but it means everything to a lot of families, thousands of families in the city of Windsor, not just today, but 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and 50 years from now. I had saw what happened in Oshawa, and I knew the impact of the closure of the GM plant in Oshawa had on that particular community. And I simply looked inward and said, what would happen in Windsor, Essex, if Stellantis decided to close our largest employer? What would that mean for our community? And so the speech I delivered in 2018 was meant to be a wake-up call for everybody here. Of course there are great things happening. Of course we have optimism and pride as a community, but we need to get prepared. And that's exactly what we did. I delivered that speech and we went to work right away on developing the action plan, which produced our Windsor Works Economic Development Action Plan. In that plan were a number of recommendations, over 40 recommendations in fact. One of them was securing Windsor's future in the EV battery space. I knew that that would have the biggest impact on our community. And I knew that with federal rules that were changing, with content rules that were changing, that we had an opportunity in front of us to secure a big piece of this pie, and we certainly had the local expertise. And it was clear that Stellantis was partnering with a number of different companies, but we're zeroing in on LG. And so we went to meet with LG to sell our business case about our community, about our expertise, and about our geography, and how that they can build these things right here and service the entire North American market, because effectively we're the closest community to the US-Canada border. And clearly what we did was enough. We've got it over the finish line. We secured a $5 billion investment, the largest investment in our city's history. And we got it right here, and it means 3,000 new jobs. It means 650 new jobs at Stellantis in their R&D facility on Rhodes Drive. It means changing the course of the automotive sector in Windsor. And going after all of the supply chain that comes with this opportunity is equally exciting. Our brightest days are ahead. I am fully confident of that. And this plant and the opportunities it presents and the transition of the automotive industry as a whole, we are on the cusp of great things here in Windsor, Essex, and I am excited about our future. This EV battery factory is transformational because it lets us move from the auto capital of Canada to the automobility capital of Canada, which is where the industry is going. It's all about EV battery. It's all about the electrification of the auto sector. We are on the cusp of that. But it also builds in all of the other exciting pieces in technology that young people who are graduating from St. Clair College, young people who are graduating from the University of Windsor, now have a direct pathway and a role to play in helping build our city's future. And I'm talking about robotics technicians, I'm talking about engineers, I'm talking about all the folks who would play a role in leading the future of our community because they've got a great education right here in the city of Windsor. Now they have pathways to stay here, they have pathways to put their intelligence to use and be part of growing this city for the next generation.